You ready to do this thing?
Oh yeah!
Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sweaty Casuals, brought to you by Snowflake Sanctuary Discord server. This is the podcast where we usually talk about the games that we love to play, from the state of rank systems to our thoughts on the newest sensations and everything in between. My name is Nox, and along with my co-hosts, Zach and Taken Tacos, we will be your guides as we traverse Elo Hell. As a small reminder, we do swear, so viewer discretion is advised. Today, we are joined by our self-proclaimed Star Wars expert, Bandito. Self-proclaimed is important to remember. To discuss Jedi Survivor, its gameplay, its story, and its place in the greater Star Wars canon. So starting off with our icebreaker question. Who is your favorite character in Star Wars Jedi Survivor or Fallen Order? The silence is never good for our audio listeners, guys. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's a good thing we have editors. Hold on.
Wait, we have editors?
Soon that will be correct. This is good. This is good.
I want to say Marin so badly. I have to say Trilla, actually. Like, I don't think the first game is nearly as good if you try and change Trilla.
Oh, I'm going? Y'all are sleeping on Turgle. Be
So-
for real.
It has been a second since I've played, and I mean this with no disrespect. Who the fuck is Turtle?
Here, I'll tell you. Jar Jar walked so that Turgle could run.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Turtle's
He's
one of the
one
people
of-
in the cantina.
Great.
Yeah, he's
Oh
one of the
my God,
residents
okay,
in Survivor. I'm trying. I'll look up who he's voiced by. I can't remember right now.
No,
Turgle was everything Jar Jar couldn't be.
It'd be a 50-50 split. Either, Marin. I just like how her character is written. And then Malicos, who is also on Dathomir. He was
Malicos.
fun.
He's an interesting villain, for sure.
I liked the idea.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be basic. I really like Cal.
Say Cal Kestis. God
Yeah.
damn it.
Cal is
I
a great character.
I think he's a great character.
Because you
I
control
love
him.
his actor. Yeah, but when you think like cutscene wise, like this actual story around him. Other than that, and side characters, I always have a soft spot for droids. So BD1 is amazing. Remind me the name of the droid that he finds
Z.
in Survivor. Z is great. And then I love Marin with all my heart. She's my girl. I love her. And she's so good in Survivor.
Turgle was also voiced by Richard Stephen Horvitz.
Huh.
Invader
think-
Zim.
I was
Billy.
gonna say, I don't know to place that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He does a fantastic job. It's so random.
Fucking Turtle.
So I
Look up
guess
Turgle moments.
Dumb character. Dumb.
Before we get into like the whole story conversation, maybe we should just touch gameplay, because Survivor changed a lot of things and a lot of it stayed the same.
Is this episode coming out before or after the last one we recorded?
It's coming out after the last one.
Okay, well, if you didn't watch the last episode, check it out, because we actually kind of talk about game mechanics
A little bit. Wee bit.
a wee bit. They definitely took from the Souls games
A lot.
a lot. So that's actually, I'm surprised we didn't bring that up the other day.
I didn't know that. I've never played
I've
Dark
never played a
Souls.
Souls.
Yeah.
I got lucky and I went from Survivor to Elden Ring. So it made my life a lot easier because the majority of the movement, a little limited, but it does translate over, especially the combat, if you're
Mhm.
careful.
I think this game has some of the most, for a PC player that doesn't hook up a controller, some of the most infuriating mechanics ever.
You won't like
Um,
Dark Souls then.
Well, don't
Yeah.
have any intention of playing it. I've heard nothing but bad things the entire time I've ever stepped foot in the gaming community. So,
It's
no
'cause
thank you.
It's filled with hater ass bitches. That's why.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but as someone who doesn't have a controller readily available to hook up, it's incredibly infuriating. That's the reason that I'll be fully transparent with the podcast right now. I've played through all of Fallen Order myself. I got to the cantina in Survivor before I have not touched the game. That being said, I still am a hoe for Star Wars lore. So I did go and watch all of the cutscenes and the important parts of the game play before this, so that I knew what the hell I was talking about. But also, it's important. So for me, this game, it doesn't feel always super accessible, which pisses me off. But the story is really good, so it makes up for it, I guess.
That and just the difficulty the game engine has running the game.
This one did run a lot less well than Fallen Order.
It was also like 4 times the size of the map, so I
Mhm.
give them that.
Did
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm nitpicky. Did the graphics look like they took a hit from the first game?
They did because it was harder to run, so you more than likely played at a lower setting.
I was so incredibly unimpressed in cutscenes with the animation of the characters. So incredibly disappointed.
It's because it was all, I think it was all in-game render.
The characters' faces looked blurry.
Do you have motion blur on? Because it is on
That
by
is
default.
such a great question. The video that I watched had the same thing that I was seeing, because I remember thinking the same thing when I started the game, where my computer, one, had a hard time starting this game for a long time.
It takes a while to load. Just
Couldn't
period.
even, but it would like crash on me. Like I could not even get past the first loading screen.
Yeah.
And I have like a pretty up-to-date computer. Like I'm not running a piece of shit over here. Sorry, Bandito.
Hey,
Just because it's true.
she runs fine, okay?
She does
has
not.
Heart. She has
Bandito
heart and
turning off his
personality.
camera in chat before he streams anything to the Discord because his computer literally can't handle both things happening at once.
Okay, but she can run music at the same time.
Bandito tried one night. I'm so sorry for this tangent. This is so important. Bandito tried one night to stream Supermarket Simulator to me. Supermarket Simulator, a like 10
It's a tough
gig
game.
can probably run on a toaster game. His game immediately started lagging. Could not play the game while he was streaming it. Insanity. Anyway,
At the lowest res, it was okay. It was choppy, but
I was also lucky that I did not buy this game myself. This game was gifted to me for Christmas last year. If I paid $70 and got the shitstorm that this game can be sometimes, granted, I still stand by the fact the story is great. I really enjoyed it. But got this shitstorm mechanically from a game and appearance-wise from a game, I would have been a little pissed.
Mhm.
I waited.
It really
till when I'm
didn't
sad.
matter what you were running on day one.
Yeah.
Just about everyone felt that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It
that's
was
also
pretty
why I
awful
didn't-
when it started.
I didn't ask for the game until after a year it had been live. Because I didn't.
I remember
had
it coming
heard-
out and
Is
you
that
downloading
game-
it.
No,
I
I
was
waited a
pretty sure.
whole year
Mine was
because
close to the same.
Tyler was playing it and telling me all about how shit it was running and how bad it was.
That I do
Yeah.
remember very
And
vividly.
and so I waited on it.
Smart.
And it was still bad.
Look at
Anyway.
you now.
Yeah, I got it about a year later on PS5.
I
Okay,
powered through it.
mine did fine.
I had to.
It is built for PlayStation.
I can tell you. all
Yeah,
about
well,
this.
there's
It's
separate
not
build for
it's
it,
not a
so-
PC game.
No, it is not.
Hey,
Oh.
it is fun to play it on mouse and keyboard.
No, it is fucking not.
I am not paid to say that.
You made
Okay,
it sound
so
like you were.
it's a good
No,
point.
It was awful.
Maybe that was a joke.
I still stand going. I'm talking so much. I'm sorry. I guess I have feelings about this.
I guess
Really?
go off.
Yes, I have a lot
Tell
of
us.
feelings. Going back to our Titanfall conversation, this is the same company that did Titanfall. What happened? What happened?
Money.
How did we get here?
So you is everyone here familiar with the history? I mean, I'll probably still get into it just for the listeners.
Please
but-
enlighten us.
So it started with Fallen Order, and EA releasing dog shit games for Star Wars and holding the only contract for the Star Wars.
What? EA?
Copyright.
No.
Yeah. So Disney was like, yo, if you don't, I'm Gen Z paraphrasing here. Yo, if you don't release a good game soon, we're pulling our contract with you and we're going to allow other people to bid on the Star Wars copyright law or copyright for video games. So then EA was like, fuck it. We'll listen to the community and we'll release, like, I guess Disney was like, hey, Battlefront ain't working. Come up with something else.
Battlefront
the-
was dog shit. So
Yes. So
Yeah.
then you had squadrons or whatever it was called. It was all dogfights and stuff like that. It was dog
Yep.
shit is what it was. Actually, it was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It just was only good if you had friends to play with and like 30 other online people.
Yeah.
So then Disney was like, you need to release something that's good for like single player. So they released Fallen Order, but it was a short story, and it was very lackluster as far as things to do in the game, small maps and everything. They forced it onto the Frostbite engine because they had to, because it's EA and everything can run on the Frostbite engine. That's a lie. And so they released it in hopes that the game would be bad, and then they could go to Disney executives and be like, all right, see, told you, now let us make Battlefront because what you said was bad. And then it ended up being like one of their best sellers for Star Wars games. So then EA shot themselves in the foot and they were forced to make Jedi Survivor. So EA does not like it. It is their hated child that everybody loves. It is their Jar Jar Binks.
Just so unfortunate.
that says so much more about EA.
Yeah.
Right?
Like what the hell? Like what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, so
I mean,
that's
granted,
why...
these are things we could also probably have already told you about EA without all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like
But
even if
that-
you make it and you don't like it when you're making it, sure. The minute that becomes your cash cow as a company, are you fucking kidding me?
But they don't
All
wanna
your
be wrong.
resources should start pouring into that.
Yeah.
You think?
But this was them coming out of a time where Anthem had just failed.
Yeah.
You know, Battlefront wasn't doing
Shouldn't
too
be an
hot.
excuse.
Well, Battlefront
Squadrons
2
wasn't
was
doing
pay to
good.
win.
Yeah.
Right. They were like, this was a game, this was a company down on their luck. Not to mention that, like, I think a year or two later they released all their titles and their subscription service to Steam, but that was because they weren't selling. And they had a problem where Russian hackers broke into their security and released everyone's passwords and usernames. So it was a real dark time for EA. That was during the time where you couldn't sign in without having to reset your password because your account was hacked.
I mean, as an argument, EA has been in a dark time for about 15 years now.
They're pretty
Um,
awful. Yeah.
This was their darkest part. They hadn't hit rock bottom yet. And
Getting-
I kind of think Fallen Order was their, oh, hey, look, there's the bottom. We'll hit it soon. You know? And it was their climb back up. That's basically all I'm saying. It'll make sense for the audio listeners.
Yeah.
For the most part, I actually didn't mind playing it on keyboard and mouse. The
Good
only
point
thing,
about that.
the only thing, the confusion mechanism
Yeah.
was I think it's bound to control by default. I hit a
I'll be real
point
with you,
pretty
I
quickly
never
on where I was
used
like,
that.
I never touched it.
I did. Well, first, okay, you're wrong. I'm sorry. It's not good on keyboard and mouse. It can't
Oh,
be.
you're a psychopath. Good
I
lord.
said-
I have played Fallen Order like 100% all achievements at least 4 times. Initially bought it, just went through, played it fast, didn't really get the story, just did it. It was fun. It kept me entertained.
Which is crazy because the story is really well written.
Right?
It's so well written.
Different console, played it again. That one got corrupted right at the end, so I was like missing like one achievement. So I was like, fuck it. I just did it again. Years later, went back and did it a third time. I have a copy of it on my computer. I can run it like really well too. The graphics look fantastic. I refuse to because of the controls. I would do it just because I know I'd have fun getting the achievements, except the controls. It's not worth it.
Is that where the economy's at now? People can't buy controllers?
Have you ever tried to buy a DualShock?
Damn, you don't need no DualShock. I got this little Walmart off-brand looking one. This is like $20.
Make smug.
And it's got little.
Well,
I have a
Xbox,
controller. I
Xbox
chose not to
controllers
use
are
it.
dog shit. That's one.
Ooh. Hot
No,
take,
I
hot
stand
take.
on that one. I die on this hill. PlayStation controllers are so much
Save
better.
it for a later one. We have inputs for a later episode.
I kind of agree though.
Yes, thank you.
Fucking
I-
Tyler, I'm with you.
I tried both.
I'll be real with you.
Anyway,
I don't think I like either controllers.
Anyway, the fact that if I'm playing on mouse and keyboard for this game and every time I load it up, I have to go to the options screen to relearn my controls and remember what 1, 2, 3, 4.
It was awful to watch.
RT at V. Yeah, Bandito watched it happen.
Oh, God.
I could not. Okay,
Oh,
I
could
lied.
do
I
that.
didn't get to the cantina. I got bested by the friggin' wildlife on the way there. Couldn't get past it. Couldn't do the combat. There's too many buttons. There's
Because,
too many
like,
buttons.
oh,
I'm
no,
gonna go through and play it on
Oh,
keyboard and mouse.
I
to show
could do
you.
that again.
Okay.
And then played the fight again with just that button.
Skill diff.
I get it.
Yeah,
Understand.
probably. But like,
I mean, I felt the same way like when Hogwarts came out, and I was like, "Cool, this is great," and I was like playing it on my own, living in my own echo chamber. Then when I started talking to people about it, they're like, "You play on a keyboard and mouse?" I was like, "What? You can play on controller?" And then I tried to play on controller. It is not meant for controller.
No,
It's
it's not.
It's meant for keyboard and mouse. But we're not talking about Hogwarts. Jedi is made for controller
100%.
by a
Damn
controller.
sure.
We're gonna put a go. Zach,
I think
we're
the
gonna
last-
go fund me and put the link
GoFundMe.
down in
It
the
would be
bio for it.
interesting. I would be interesting to
I
play
have
it with
controllers.
like
I choose not to use them.
it would be interesting to play it on a mouse that has like more inputs on the side.
Shame.
Yeah.
Like if you can
That's-
start
I've
learning
got mine.
those. I struggle when I have to start doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my keyboard when it comes to combat. Me having to actually think about where my finger's going gets really tough.
Smells. It sounds like genetics.
Probably.
The only ones that I had issues with was the default findings for changing your stance are C and X, which is a little rough to get to.
Yes, to say didn't have to deal with that shit on my controller. Good.
Yeah, that was
One
the
button.
only one that I actually used that was kind of problematic, but
I think it's all dog shit. Anyway, moving on. What's next?
really quickly, in general, I think one of the things the game handles beautifully is loading screens.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that? Like,
I
They're
don't remember
everywhere.
them, so they weren't bad.
I don't think they were
Right.
loading
there's
screens.
two. There's two different ones they use. So when you go to Between Planets, they put you in hyperspace.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That is a loading screen.
Yes.
That is them loading the entire planet in the background.
Yes.
And then the other one is whenever you go through a narrow passageway and the camera does that funky thing.
I know what funky thing you're talking about. I
Oh.
just have a good computer.
Yeah, that is a loading screen. That is what it's doing, is it's loading the next part of the map.
Shout out to Bungie for saying that we weren't getting any loading screens and doing the same fucking thing with a loading icon in the bottom corner. Remember those days?
Look. Point I want to make is just like it's so well handled.
Yeah.
You don't ever feel like your gameplay is compromised. Even when you're in hyperspace, like it's loading.
I mean, could you imagine the game on like one of Rockstar's engines? Like if they used the one for Red
I think
Dead
some of the
2,
beauty would have disappeared.
I don't
which-
know about that. I feel like there would have been a little more immersiveness to the actual. It definitely would have ran better.
Well, yes, that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
I think
Another
the other
cool-
mechanical. Oh, sorry, Nox.
Oh, I don't think it's technically a loading screen. One of the coolest parts of the game, and I stand by this, is still how when you start the game for the first time and it takes off from the front screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you
Oh,
click
front of
start
the
new
temple.
game, all of the text goes away and the ship flies in and you start from there. That was sick.
That's
Really
very
well
Star
done.
Wars though.
Really
Yeah.
well. Oh yeah. It's the cut of like we have the words flying down.
Mm-hmm.
We're reading everything and then everything fades
Pans
out
down from the sky.
and
to
it
the
pans
landscape.
down, or it's just the sky and something flies across it. It was just very like, in terms of Star Wars, feels like Star Wars. Feels like that you're in one of those. That it was very well done.
I think the other big mechanical thing to bring up that we should at least talk about is the stances, because it was a big change to the way the game played.
There is objectively 3 correct ones.
I thought it
The
was too
rest
many
are
options.
garbage.
I'll fight you on that, Bandito.
You can
Honestly,
There
I
are
think
a lot
all
of
of them
bosses that are a lot easier and are just
you'd
completely
be
negated.
wrong.
I think all of them are valid. It's a matter of how you want to play the game, which is a whole different
No.
category.
No,
There were 4 different.
there are
stances?
some bosses that
There
are
were
easier
5.
to battle.
Eight stances.
8 stances?
Hold
Right?
on. Then I am
Is it 8 or
misremembering.
6?
Hold on.
Yeah, because you had the great sword, double, broken double, single.
There are 5 different stances.
Oh,
Single,
blaster.
double-
Blaster.
Yep.
What's blaster?
You
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 get a
get one
single
lightsaber
blade
and a
at some
blaster.
point you get a gun. Yes,
Mhm.
and you can shoot off at random to continue combos.
Hmm.
So objectively, the 2 correct ones. There's some negligence, some wiggle room. Objectively, the knight sword, just heavy attacks. You hit them harder than they can hit you.
That
The
tracks with
most
you.
fun way to play. There's no thinking involved. There's no dodging. You are simply going to hit them harder than they can hit you. Don't need to make it more complicated than it needs to be. Half of the boss is gone with just that. Then the single bladed. That gives you the finesse you're looking for. It's not as fast, but you have more control.
Have you played it on max difficulty?
I have.
Okay.
With the nice sword. Just so
Okay.
that I could hit them harder than they could hit me.
Also, quick shout out to the hidden achievement you get for equipping the mullet and the greatsword and then drop
Yep.
kicking an enemy. You get Roadhouse. As a real thing, I got it by accident. Because I rocked the mullet. As soon as I was like, huh, Cal Kestis with a mullet? Yeah.
Which is fun. I think I made him just like a cowboy.
Take down the freaking empire.
Yeehaw.
They come from my Bud Light.
The customization
boy.
was really nice.
The
Yeah.
customization was fantastic. Why do you keep doing this, camera?
You're always blurry.
Cut that out.
I liked the fact that they added more and they tried to give you more options with your gameplay in general. I feel
Sure.
like I didn't love some of the options. Blaster felt cheaty at a lot of times, and other times it felt like it was almost necessary.
Yeah, because the enemy was cheating.
Yeah.
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 But I also didn't find myself using it that often.
I didn't either. I stand at heart. Blasters are a weak man's game.
Yep.
If you're a Jedi, use a blade.
So uncivilized.
As
So
the Lord
uncivilized.
handed.
As the Lord
God
handed.
bless.
I'm gonna go back and
Someone
watch
get
those
me out of
redneck
here.
cow catching. Speaking of cosmetics, Nox, you haven't played it. Zach, you haven't played New Game Plus.
Not yet.
Bandito, you played New Game Plus?
I touched on it. I didn't get far.
So, does the cosmetic you get for playing New Game Plus is called Party Saber, and it's literally every time you hit something with the saber, it changes the color.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Fantastic.
I love that.
I love that they gave us the red in the first one, but nothing will beat Party Saber.
Party
fair?
Saver sounds great.
It
I would
is.
go back to this game today if they would just let me use Party Saver.
I'll
the
send you a
first time
save
through.
that's at New Game Plus.
Okay.
Okay.
Guys, this has just been a giant ruse. We're gonna get Nox to play this game, and
It's all
I
it
will
is.
say, watching the cutscenes and watching the story, like part of
Reigniting
me
that
is
spark.
like, oh, I know the story now. I don't like all of the like shock value of what's coming
It did have that sense of boredom for a
is
while.
is gone, but because there's obviously a lot of twists and turns in this game. There's a lot of misdirection, lots of betrayal, lots of shock moments for
I
sure.
kind of wish if they
But-
released a game that's like Baldur's Gate where it had different outcomes, I'd play the fuck out of that.
Oh, Star Wars Baldur's Gate would be sick.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
But at the same time I was watching this and I was like, oh, like I'm kind of itching. Like that would be so fun.
it would be.
should we talk about the story though?
Yeah, why not?
So,
I think I'm in the minority here. I thought it was better than Fallen Order.
It definitely was.
I
Ooh,
have
we
an
have two. We have 2 and
agreeer.
2. Let's hear y'all's arguments first.
That's just my main argument is that Fallen Order ended with the mindset of this is going to be a bad game, so there's no point in continuing on.
Fallen Order has one of the worst endings to a video game I've ever seen.
It's lazy writing.
And I've talked about that. I hated the ending to Fallen Order.
Go over it here again, just in case somebody's hasn't heard it on the podcast.
The whole point of Fallen
Spoiler
Order
alert
was
ahead.
to find an object that had a map to all of the remaining Jedi in the galaxy.
Specifically a holocron.
A holocron.
Is that what it's called?
I think
Holocron.
so.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
correct.
Sure.
Okay. I know the
And
Star Wars lore.
the way that this was going, and I loved the direction. We have this unlikely hero in Kestis who was trained as a Padawan and kind of stepped back from it after experiencing Order 66. And then finds himself back in this world again of rediscovering his Jedi path. Right? Great. So now we have this whole goal of we want to find people like him to give them the same opportunities that Cal's getting, right? Reignite the Jedi Order. This is great. I'm seeing the future games. We're going to get this holocron. The future games are going to be tracking down these Jedi. We're going to go against the Empire. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fresh. We're going to get a lot of new characters. And then they destroy the holocron at the end and say, we don't need that anyway. We
Say
wanna
what
keep
you
them
want. That
hidden.
was selfish on Cal's part because now we have a bunch of Padawans or that bunch of Force sensitive children that have no defense against the dark side.
Which to remind everybody, this is it's a list of Force sensitive children. It is not a list
Yes.
of Jedi.
Yes.
So sorry. I was paraphrasing with wrong vocabulary. But I
Speaking
thought
of
that
being
was
Start Bandito, because I
It's
can
gonna be
go
a
on
lot of
about this
camera
for
punches.
probably the rest of the episode.
I could keep going, Nox. Did you have more?
it brought this, knowing that EA didn't want this game to succeed makes that ending make so much more sense because it really put an end cap on the game. There was nothing there that said we need a sequel.
That's fair.
And I think that like if that's their intention, I understand it. But in terms of what the game became and the legacy that it has now leading into Survivor, it felt like it put them in a weird spot to start this game.
And we all know how Disney is, which is if something Star Wars related does good, it becomes what? Canon.
Yep.
And I think the Jedi games are canon.
They
Pretty
are.
sure they are.
They are.
So, because there's been a lot of talk about Cal. I mean, his lightsaber was indoctrinated, or whatever you call it. It was brought into the Star Wars Hall of Fame.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if anyone will be able
Technically,
to correct
it's
me
Tal
on this.
Taparo's.
Yes. Well, specifically Cal's because it's the broken version.
Ah.
Yes.
I don't think anyone will be able to correct me on this, so I'm gonna blow smoke if I'm wrong. But when you go down into Disney World, to their Star Wars part of the park, Galaxy's Edge, They do have parts of the park where you can go make lightsabers for an incredible cost. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
You spent $200 on that?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. I have a whole story about that. I'll talk about it during the real world.
I did spend $100 on a droid. My purple BB-8 is great. $100 I felt was a little bit more feasible than a $200 lightsaber.
My
Anyway.
lightsaber was broken when I got it. Also, the cast members fuck around with you when you have it because you can carry it in and out of the park.
Yeah. Anyway, cool stuff about Disney. Disney adult. Anyway. But I think you can make Cal Kestis' lightsaber at this point. When I was down there this last summer, I'm pretty sure that is an option to make, or if not make, you can buy it.
You can buy it. I don't think you can make it.
I did see it on display though as something you could buy.
Yes. That's part of their whole. I think it's either in Anaheim or it's in the Florida one where they have their museum of all the Star Wars memorabilia, and that's where Cal Kestis' lightsaber is.
I think it's Anaheim.
That sounds more like it.
But anyway, story.
Go ahead, Bandito. You've
Fallen
been
Order
chomping at
was
the bit.
not as good.
Yeah, he's seething.
So you're wrong. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Okay.
To start with,
Fight me. I don't know,
you
dude.
are
That's crazy.
already going into the story expecting it to be a sequel. For me, this started out as a standalone story. It was just going to be its own thing, a new segment doing its own thing. It didn't have to become more.
What are you referring to right now? I'm
Fallen
lost.
Order.
Fallen Order in general.
Okay.
Starting out Fallen Order, I didn't go through expecting it to have spin-offs or a sequel. I went in thinking it was just a standalone story, and I still believe, honestly, it probably should have been. However, I'm okay with Survivor. Second, the Holycron itself, I don't think it was about, hey, we could make new characters, hey, we could do new things. It was, should we bring, hypothetically, innocent people into a war when they could potentially avoid it altogether? You could,
But are they?
I
The
would argue
Inquisitors
they
are
are.
after them.
Most of them were hidden. The only way they'd be found was through the Holycron. It was only until later, or if they fucked up and had themselves spotted, they would be relatively hidden, and you'd have the potential for another Luke Skywalker out of fucking nowhere. But
I
it
highly
was the
disagree with
idea
that,
that
but
it was the idea that should he use this information, you're willingly bringing them into danger. Them knowing is adding another sense of, well, now that you know, you're going to be looking out for it, and you won't have that. Oh God, I'm trying to think of the word. It's something of ignorance, veil of ignorance. You don't know, so you can't argue against it, kind of a thing. You can't be spotted out of the crowd because you're this guy, because you don't know you're that guy. It doesn't affect you. You're just another person. Therefore, they wouldn't get picked out of the crowd as often. So it was more of him choosing to sacrifice a potential future of the galaxy at large so that they could potentially live normal lives.
I think you have this opinion knowing how the rest of the Skywalker saga goes. What if the Empire would have been dictators for the rest of eternity? And
At least
this
they got
was
to
a
live
shot.
normal lives.
Is it normal? Okay, this is getting
As close as you can get.
I'm not getting on my government soapbox. But I think it was. This is a fantasy story. This is sci-fi. This is sci-fi.
No,
Give me
it's
the fun
space opera.
stuff.
Let's be
It is
honest.
space opera.
opera.
Yeah.
Sci-fi is
Sci-fi.
different. If you want it to be sci-fi, you need to go watch Star Trek.
Yo, fuck Star Trek.
Oh no.
Yes, I will fight.
Respect
Anyway.
both.
No. I hope we lose a viewer over that. I hope I just tick somebody off.
It's
Anyway.
gonna be my mom. Um,
Sorry, Zach's mom. I didn't mean it. You're lovely. But
Zach saying all of our viewers are just our parents.
this is a fiction story. I don't care about logic and reason, to be so honest. I want something that's going
Ooh.
to sell me and give me good, entertaining storylines. And going out to find 4 sensitive children. Oh, you didn't like that opinion? This is crazy. But that is a fun storyline of like training and getting people together. It's a story of like reemergence of the Jedi Order. Oh,
I'm still gonna stand my ground and say that Survivor was a better storyline, but I do have a question. Knox, what were your opinion on the last 3 of the Skywalker saga?
8 was bad. 7 was good. 9 could have been so much better if J.J. Abrams wasn't picking up the pieces from 8.
I disagree.
I also disagree. I thought
I
we
don't
found
think
our
I-
commonality.
I thought
I don't
9
think
was
I've been in the
awful,
I don't think I'm in the
8
minority for
was
that opinion.
Okay,
No.
7 was
7 just redid what 4
Saying-
did, but worse.
and
The
worse.
fact that in this chat right now there are episode 8 lovers makes me want to
See,
vomit.
again, lovers is a strong term.
I'm not talking about you.
Zach, have some self-respect.
That movie was
do.
awful.
It is
wasn't
not.
that
It is
good.
awful. Okay, I will give you one thing. The whole thing with Cantabite, all of that just needed to get deleted.
Is that the casino planet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dog shit. That ruined the entire movie.
If you
Is it
delete all
Ryan
of that,
Johnson?
it's fine.
Ryan Johnson, right?
Okay, so the rumor that I've heard was he actually was told by the studio, you need to add this part.
Well, that doesn't shock me. Disney doesn't make great decisions when it comes to Marvel
No, they
and Star
don't.
Wars, barely
What's
ever.
her name? Caitlin? Catherine?
Kathleen.
Who's the
lady-
She's
Who plays
the lady
Rose?
No,
she's
no,
the
no.
one
CEO
of the
of Star Wars.
producers or something like that.
Oh, Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah, I think they've drove Star Wars into the ground. It's been downhill since Rogue One, in my opinion. I think Rogue One was their pinnacle. That is the best Star Wars movie to ever be made, and I will not take notes on that opinion.
I would agree with that.
Movie?
Yes.
Movie. I think
It
Andor
was
has
good.
been pretty darn good. Andor was awesome.
Haven't seen it yet. It's on my list.
How?
I could
You?
get into it. I could
Yeah.
get into it.
Andor
Lux and
is so good.
Couldn't get
Oh.
Lux
into
and I have been getting through it. We are going
Okay.
through timeline order. It's coming up.
Okay, because it's solid. It's so solid.
That's what I've been told.
It has that same feel as Rogue One. Just like this impending doom.
Yeah.
My feeling on Fallen Order and why I think it is a better game is
No, I want to
There's
keep talking
actually
about why you
good-
think episode 8 is good.
We can come back to that. Just go through your
making an
stuff fast so we can
anti-war
bring it back.
movie out of a film which has traditionally romanticized war is awesome.
Okay, but it was bad.
No?
They killed off one of the main characters the same way they did his mother. He got sad. He got depressed.
He didn't get sad. It was his time.
Was it though? I
And he
think his
went out like a
contract was
fucking
too
badass.
expensive.
Okay, even the two naysayers here will agree. That fight between Luke and Kylo Ren is awesome.
The fight itself?
Yeah.
Which one?
I do feel Luke and Kylo Ren.
You
In
talking
episode
when
8.
they're on the
In the salt plane.
The salt
yeah.
plane was visually stunning.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay, the rest of it. I do think it's funny. I feel bad for Mark Hamill.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he got the ending he wanted out of all of this.
I don't think
which
so either,
makes
and I
me
do agree with
sad.
him. I do agree with him that there were some character motive issues that did betray his trust. It's one of the reasons why I can't be like, I love episode 8 and it was perfect. I don't think that.
But
I think
Luke's
I
character
think
arc was
it is-
handled poorly.
so funny though that Mark Hamill was not pleased fully with his end experience here. Whereas Harrison Ford just wanted the fuck out. He didn't want to be there anymore. He didn't want to be there in the first place. And he got
Peace.
dragged in to 40 years of this.
They're gonna do this till you're 90.
Side note: has everybody here seen Mark Hamill's impression of Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
if you haven't seen it, you
spot
need to look
on.
it up. It's amazing.
You didn't tell me about that.
Moving back to our topic. Fallen Order, all of the character arcs are perfect. At least as far as I can tell. Everybody has a very clear, this is where they start and they need to move somewhere and things happen and they get to that point. Cal is not a Jedi. He doesn't feel like a Jedi. He's not living like a Jedi. He's not doing things that a Jedi would do. And by the end of it, he is a Jedi. Cere is trying to avoid everything in her past that has just haunted her. And by the end of it, she actually faces it. To the point where she faces Vader. Merrin learns how to actually live with her pain. Can't say the same thing for Survivor.
I do
And there's
think the
one
Vader
really,
scene's done
really
better.
big thing that bothers me. Bo's kid? Kai? Kai is her
Mhm.
name?
Kata.
We'll go with that.
Kata, thank you. Why the hell is Kata just kind of chill with these two random people who showed up and killed her dad?
Yeah, very strange.
Yeah.
I don't think, from a character perspective, when I was watching this, it did seem like this was something that they built this entire character around Bode, and they created his character motivations and why he's doing what he's doing.
She
And
was
having
just
a
an
daughter,
object to make it
having a
happen.
daughter made sense. Like, that is a driving factor for a father to want to protect and create a safe haven for their kid. 100%. They didn't dedicate enough time to fleshing out the character of his daughter to make certain decisions or have certain reactions. And I think she felt like a placeholder and a puppet, because how do you get to the ending that you want for Cal and Bode and for Merrin and for Cere and still and not traumatize this kid?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it feels funky, and I'm not saying it's as an excuse, but just from my experience, I had the exact same feeling of like, oh, she's just okay with Cal, that she met once for 5 minutes and just killed took them straight to her dad and was like chill with them killing him.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it did seem like they were trying to present her as wise beyond her years, and they felt like they were trying to create a very mature young individual.
I agree with that. I think the issue is that like we needed to see like Bode actually be having a breakdown. Like full on like something is wrong here in order to justify that.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I feel like Bode was just he ultimately was a weak villain, as was guy from the Old Republic whose name I'm not gonna remember at all right now.
Hold on.
Bandito's got us.
Dagan Gera.
Dagan Gera.
I fucking
I didn't-
hated him. He was just
I didn't
annoying.
find him compelling at all.
No.
And
I will agree where it felt
good
like
stories come out of great villains.
Right. I do feel like this did bite off a lot more than it could chew in terms of
Mhm.
the story, the plot lines it wanted to hit. From my experience, you get to the fight where you I already lost his name, Gera. Where you face him and you kill him, and then they're all sitting around a campfire drinking booze and excited that they're gonna go find the planet that they've been trying to find the compass for. And then you go back and you're talking to Cere and Bode betrays them. And then you go fight Bode.
Mhm.
And then that feels like that's kind of the end, because you start playing as Cere. And then you go play as Cere and you face Vader, which is super sick and super fun and really, really cool. And Cere's awesome. And then that kind of feels like the end. And then we go find Kata. And I feel like the game could have ended like 4 times.
I mean,
And we just kept going.
if I can speak out of turn here,
No. Go right ahead.
both Dagan and Bo were not the real villains in this game. Hands down, Ravis was the actual villain.
I could say behind that.
I think he had the best villain arc. Of
I
the game.
fucking hated his fight. His was
His
worse
fight
than any of the
was
others.
such a pain in the ass.
Is he
It's because you're
the
using the great sword.
Yeah,
is he the tentacle guy?
probably.
Yes.
And you know
Okay.
what? I still beat him with it.
I
Yep.
don't
So I
think
also-
he's the
I
villain,
wanted to-
but he
I
was
don't think-
interesting.
No, I think he's the
yeah,
main
okay.
villain. I think he's
So
he's the real main villain because he's the one that drives Cal to do everything.
I do actually want to point out, like, in terms of paying homage to the rest of Star Wars, this game fucking nailed it.
I absolutely.
I can agree
So
with
I'm
that.
not gonna remember what the name of the species is that Ravis is with the tentacle things.
Gendai warrior.
Yeah. That's from the Clone Wars, the original Clone Wars cartoon.
Right.
Where they
Oh,
faced a bounty
wow.
hunter who was like that. And it was friggin' badass there. It was pretty cool to see it in 3D.
The fandom wiki has all of his crimes.
Oh, really?
And aiding and abetting.
He done
Sorry.
run the gambit.
Yeah.
He did the whole thing. But he was an honorable barbarian. That was the type of villain they gave him.
He died like a bitch.
No, he had a warrior's death. Let him live. Or
It's American
die, I
novel.
guess.
His
all
death
he
was
wanted.
more impactful to me than
Yep.
Gara's or
I think
Uh,
his death was the climax of the game.
yeah. Bode's death had impact, but not
It
in
had
quite the
impact
same way.
emotionally,
Yeah.
not story driving wise.
Yeah.
It almost felt like
Sear,
they had
Sear's
three
death carried
different
more
groups.
weight than Bode's to me.
Oh, 100%. You also spend way more time with Seer. You had more of an
Yes.
emotional connection to Seer. I did think I was like, Bode is such an interesting character to flesh out and have along in these stories. I was a little sad that they made him a sleeper agent. I think we could have done without that, to be honest.
I didn't mind it only because it was well handled. I didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't. Either.
No, neither did I.
Rewatching it, you could definitely tell.
Yes,
could-
and that's the
replaying it,
mark
you
of a
could tell.
good one, is that there's little hints, and if you're really paying attention, maybe you'll be able to get it. But if you're not looking for it, you won't see it. It's a well done twist villain.
Also, I think the fight against Vader in the second one was better than the first.
Well, yeah,
No,
in the first
you
one,
didn't
you
really
could
have a
kind of just
fight.
run.
Don't get me wrong, okay? Vader showing up without a health bar is fucking terrifying.
Yes.
Of going up saying, "This is not a fight you will win," was interesting to say the least.
It was tough that we got to see Vader Prime in a video game.
Right? But seeing him
R.I.P. James
catch
Earl
on
Jones.
fire, watching him
True.
catch on fire, and still being like, "Go, you're not doing a damn thing," and just kept pummeling her down left and right. That was pretty cool.
The
was
math that
pretty
people did behind how strong Vader was with the Force
Yep.
when you're
Just what, the
fighting him
water?
down there in the first one, just the water pressure alone was like the equivalent of like 9 Titanics and then some.
You know,
And he went, try again.
Vader's him, I'm telling you.
I will also say, for me personally, part of the reason that I like Jedi Survivor better was that Marin was a more of a primary character.
That's something that I will give props to, because I think Marin's character is phenomenal.
I also think the relationship between her and Cal is done really well
Yes.
because
He
it
gets laid
addresses.
finally.
He
Yep.
does. It
Steve
also,
Holt!
but it does address the like Jedi Order not
Girlfriend.
supposed to form connections and have romantic partners. Like I thought that it did really well, like fleshing out a Jedi character like Cal that has a romantic interest, and still respecting what the Jedi Order was and not pulling an Anakin.
The last thing I want to bring up, just because both you and Taco mentioned it, I think the destruction of the Holycron is actually really important to everyone's character arc.
To be honest with you, I don't think they had a choice.
I think they were making the option between rebuilding this thing, the Order, that clearly failed. And failed for
bad
reasons that were explainable, things that could have changed. And understanding that in that moment, that list was way more dangerous than it was helpful. If they destroy it, they can always rebuild the Order at some point later when they know what it should be. And they have a path forward.
Yeah,
I think it was lame.
Ending, I don't think that ending gave that at all. I think you're giving it too much credit.
It's what I got from it.
It's valid. I don't think that that's what they were going for. I think
it's what
they
I got
were going for was we were going to have to make a second game if we wanted to explain the ending of this game. And we didn't want to our hands are tied because we already have 9 movies before this.
Survivor
and
to
The
me
Mandalorian
also...
was coming out.
Yeah. It's and I will give them credit for that. It is always hard and a little bit of a obstacle course to insert new Star Wars material into the existing timeline because you do have to maneuver around decisions that have already been made
without spoiling the ending.
Right, because this is also a fan base of people that will come for your heads if you decide to retcon certain decisions.
And not every story can be Rogue One.
True.
Right.
Rogue One did so well because everyone knew the outcome. They were telling a story of a history of what
so if you haven't seen Rogue One yet.
Quick spoiler alert.
Everyone dies.
Darth Vader is Luke's father. I know.
What?
If it wasn't such an editing headache for you, Zach, I would leave at a comic relief.
You've already made a headache for me, whether you realize it or not.
Well, fuck it. We might as well go for gold.
I think the other thing I want to mention on this story is that Survivor falls into this awful paradox where a movie gets made, usually a movie gets made, and the first one does well, and then they say, crap, we need to make more of these, let's make it a trilogy, and they know where they want the third one to land,
second one's
and then they're like trying to figure out how to do the second one.
Yep.
And make it all fit in, and this definitely feels like they were pushing towards, hey, this is where we need to get for the third one.
Yeah. I didn't care for the dark side pull.
Good example would be Age of Ultron. A lot of people, when Age of Ultron came out, it was like, man, this feels like a lot of stuff that's kind of just trying to get us to Infinity War.
Yeah, Age of Ultron.
That's kind of where Marvel's at right now.
It's actually a good movie. If you go back now and you rewatch it, there's a lot of good things that came out of it.
It is good.
No,
it's actually really well done. There's so many things that they're like, hey, push this in because we need it for Infinity War. We need to know what an Infinity Stone is.
No, because you're so incredibly lucky that we're in a podcast episode. I would have removed you so fast. I was hovering over the button. I was there. I was the self-control.
Real quick.
Age of Ultron, not a good movie. Has the best fighting.
My heart. No.
Goose Fraba.
Has the best fighting scene of all of Marvel. The last scene when they're battling Ultron is the best. The one shot.
Have you watched the What If
That's a
series?
hot take.
Now I want to leave.
Have you watched the What If series though?
Yes.
Okay.
Most of it.
Did you see What If Ultron won?
You should watch
it.
that.
I haven't.
You should. Maybe I won't spoil it, and we'll just talk about it.
No, I'm not saying that Ultron wasn't a good villain. I'm saying that movie was pretty subpar. Still not the lowest ranking Marvel movie. Thor: Dark World does still exist.
Yes.
So does Love and Thunder.
Oh, not in the same ballpark.
No.
Time.
Get me on this one. No.
Say it with heart.
Let's come back to Fallen Order.
No, don't get me on this one tonight. I'll talk for hours. I love Love and Thunder. That's one of my favorites.
Nox, I liked it too.
Y'all crazy.
Fallen Order, Survivor.
Y'all are
I feel
psychopath.
on the one
Good
hand, I
God.
feel like Survivor was a bit disappointing. I think the game performance really hurt it. I think some of the mechanics felt overly complicated at points, even though I like how much freedom it gave you. But ultimately, it felt like this is trying to get us to the third one, which makes me think so much rides on this third, whatever this last installment of the game is going to be.
I just
If we
want them
get
to
one.
make an actual show.
There is one.
There's the rumor I've heard is that once the third one is made, Cal Kestis can become part of a show.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I forget
Which
the
I'm looking
actor's
forward
name
to.
every time.
I do too.
I love him.
It's pretty freaking chill. Got on stage and he was like, "Don't worry, guys. There's going to be a Poncho in this game."
As long as there's a Poncho.
Yes.
There's one Poncho.
But no, for any of my friends listening or in the call with me that were shameless watchers, like there's a that
Gallagher.
actor, yes, has a special place in like my early college days, like becoming a person with a personality. Like that show has a big impact on me, and yeah, he's got a
also-
special place in my heart. What are you
I
two
hope-
fucking laughing at? I need to leave.
Should we? Zach, I'll animate it for you and I'll send it over to you, and you could just
Oh,
put it in the side corner during
Okay.
this whole conversation. Bandito and I message each other back.
Oh, God.
I
Okay.
I sent him the picture of Scar like this, going, "I'm surrounded by idiots."
Oh, God. Okay. Well, we'll deal with that later.
I'm losing friends tonight, viewers. Don't expect me back.
Not
Aw.
only are we losing viewers.
What happens when you have wrong opinions?
What happens when you're a goddamn asshole? Fuckface, okay?
I can accept when I'm wrong.
No, you don't. You literally don't.
No.
Ever.
It's literally your character flaw.
I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting to see how that arc resolves.
The drink.
Does anybody
Need to
else have any?
leave.
Does anybody else want to wrap up their thoughts on Survivor?
No, we cannot keep talking. We cannot keep talking.
We absolutely can.
No, we cannot. One of us is gonna get truly mad, and it's probably gonna be me.
Yeah, most likely.
Well, that's a
Bandito, the
little
way I
disappointing.
wish I could
I'm
fist fight you
not
right now.
saying this
I
thing.
want to absolutely. Have a good episode, guys. This is me leaving, so Zach doesn't have to edit me out.
I see the little tone of dum.
Bandito,
anyways,
you are our
Watch.
guest, so no. Bandito, you are our guest. If you want to give your thoughts, at least you should be have the chance to.
Most of it was already said. It was okay. I preferred the original. The original felt more conclusive. It had everything together.
Mhm.
It had a story. It told it. It did what it needed to do. The
Are we still
second
talking
one
about Marvel?
felt
No.
No.
the second one felt like a springboard to something else. So there wasn't a whole lot that I could like. It was both too big and nothing at the same time. I got a few cool scenes. That's about it. I didn't care for it.
Taco, Nox, any thoughts to wrap up?
I need to buy a controller, I guess.
Yes, you do.
That's my thought. Good story. I like it. I'm excited for the next one that I'll probably just watch the YouTube videos anyway.
You know what else
I-
we could do?
What?
Could let's play the next one.
We could.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
In
an option.
2028 when it comes out?
If your computer can run it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. What about you, Taco?
Oh, my wrap up for it? I don't know. I feel like I gotta go back and replay the game. I've been thinking about it. It's only like $20. for console right now.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, it's like $29.99. I was rounding
Does it
down.
play on PS4 or is it only
Yes, it does.
PS5?
No, PS5.
Maybe. Then I will not.
Survivor is PS5.
My PS4. That's my one complaint about PlayStation is that they've never made things backwards compatible ever. And I have a PS4 collecting dust without a controller right now that I would just have to track down.
They had an upgrade period
They
between
did.
the PS5 being released and the PS4 going away. Like
could
Miles
trade it in.
Morales released while the PS5 was out, but you could play it on both.
Yep.
Mhm.
It was just eventually they started making games that were too strong for the PS4.
Yep.
For sure. Well, wrapping this up, let's get into our real world segment where we talk about anything about that's going on in our lives that is usually outside of gaming. So music we're listening to, movies we're watching, not listening to, like we said last time. Shows that we're into things like that. Bandito, do you want to kick us off?
I so can. I don't have
Great.
terribly too much to say because apparently it was briefly spoken upon last time. However, I have a slight twist on mine. I am also an avid reader of Jujutsu Kaisen. I deeply enjoy it. An ending has occurred. Some choices were made that I do not agree with, and I'll attempt to avoid spoilers, save for one. From his introduction to exit, one of my favorite characters, Satoru Gojo, passed away. And then the author, Gege Akutami, ignored him like he didn't exist the rest of the manga. Like, to the point where he almost actively avoided even mentioning him for the rest of the manga. No funeral, no nothing. After his battle was done, it was over. That was it. He wasn't mentioned again. And I want my glorious blue-eyed king back. I want Jujutsu Kaisen Shippuden, where it's just Satoru Gojo beating the shit out of people. That's my dream world. Free Gojo, he did none wrong. But yes.
Tyler, what do you got?
Oh, that's kind of long.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I guess we were talking about it. Oh, wow. Thanks, camera.
I
built my lightsaber. I did this years ago. The fun story about it is I didn't get to go through the whole thing because you have to make a reservation to make your lightsaber. And I didn't know that because I went to Disneyland last minute 3 days before they closed for So I went there, bought season passes for like $80, drove down there with my sister, walked up to the front where they do the lightsabers and went, hey, I don't have a reservation, but I don't really give a shit about building it. I just want one. And that's the only way you could buy them, at least at the time. So I was like, can I just pay the $200 and sit and watch and get my lightsaber? The lady goes, sure. So that's how I got it without a reservation.
Nice.
I didn't really need to go through the whole building it thing. I could figure it out. But they also gave it to me broken. The blade was put in wrong because one of the cast members was trying to fuck with me by like grabbing it because it like goes in only one way and then it twists and locks into place. So this cast member had like got it down where he could grab the blade and walk off with it. And he tried to do that, and then it didn't work because it wouldn't come out of the hilt. And he goes, Padawan, I think your lightsaber might be broken there, buddy. You need to go to whatever the name of the shop is and ask for blah, 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 and see if she can fix it for you. It was actually very cool how he did it. It was very respectable.
Yeah.
They do really well down there.
Yeah.
Or over there, down there in Florida as well.
Down there.
Zach, what do you got?
I still am not doing much with my life at the moment. I'm almost there.
Bumming us out, man.
Sorry.
Wild.
A couple weeks ago I mentioned that Disney was doing a like Pop Goes Pump kind of album, but with Disney songs. That whole album is out, and I have been listening to it. It's pretty friggin' awesome. Highly recommend. Magnolia Park did Eye to Eye, and Simple Plan did Lion Sleeps with Us tonight when I talked about it last time. There's also Bowling for Soup does Friend Like Me. I would not
Bowling
have
for
pinned...
Soup is on that?
Yeah.
Wild pick.
Would not have picked
Well, Disney's got its claws in Bowling for Soup. 'Cause remember, they used to do stuff with Phineas and Ferb.
yes.
Like, that's an easy
I think they're doing it for
contact.
the reboot too.
There's a reboot?
Yeah, they're doing a reboot.
Nice.
I'm just so excited I heard her from other mics.
Yeah, if I get loud
Dear-
enough, you can hear me through Zach.
Who sings Dear Maria?
All-time lows on it?
Yeah, they do Kiss the Girl.
Oh my god.
But of all the ones on there, I'm a big Mayday Parade fan. I love Mayday Parade so much. Their cover of Remember Me from Coco, standalone song. You could just listen to that and be like, it's not from a musical, and you could totally buy it. It's so well done. So yeah, if you haven't heard of it or checked it out at all, worth it. Definitely worth it.
Zach, you ever listen to Our Last Night?
No.
How do I
All right,
find this
well-
album, Zach?
I'll send you a
It's
link.
on Spotify.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Zach,
Well,
I'm about
thanks.
to put you on some stuff after this.
Okay.
Anyway.
Knox, what do you got for your real world?
No, I got literally nothing. Nothing has happened since the last time we recorded, which was exactly 24 hours ago. I'm still crocheting. The 21 Pilots concert is still coming up. But I have eaten almost an entire box of Girl Scout cookies in like 3 days, and it's this new kind that I've never had
Ooh.
before.
Yeah, I was gonna say what kind.
If you get the chance to try Adventurefuls, these are solid. They're like brownie based,
Oh.
with caramel on the top, and
Huh.
they're really easy to eat. If you were
Aren't-
paying attention, video watchers, you might have seen me sneak one earlier because they just sit on my desk now.
We saw her sneak one.
You sneak one, but they're very good.
I mean, aren't all Girl Scout cookies easy to
Um,
consume an entire package of?
I would argue what's the ones with coconut on it are not easy to eat an
Tagalongs.
entire.
What?
No, those are not tagalongs.
No? I thought they were.
The Samoyas or whatever?
The Samoas,
That's what it is.
Caramel
Yes.
Delights. The Caramel Delights, Samoas, they've gone by 2 different names. Those are not easy to consume fully. Those are
I, was-
quite rich.
I think you have to
Thin
like
mints are
coconut, too.
easy. This is true. I don't like coconut.
I don't know.
I don't either, but I will fuck up. a
Thin
box
mints
of
are
those.
easy. Tagalongs, which are their peanut butter ones, are really easy.
Yeah.
Tagalongs in the freezer. I could fuck up 3 boxes.
Thin
of
mints
those
in the
one time.
fridge.
Thin mints.
Yeah, I have a box
Yeah.
of both of those in my kitchen
It's
right
the
now.
edible version of putting your deodorant in the fridge.
Why? What?
I get where you're going with that.
Huh?
I don't think it really came across well, though.
Shout out to my boy Riley for telling me that. Never done it, nor will I ever. I
Huh?
pick my deodorant room temp or nothing.
Who is putting their deodorant in the freezer?
People.
Why? Is this a
So
guy
it's-
thing? Am I missing
So
out
it's
on
not
something?
jelly.
Anyway,
This episode's already been
thank
weird. Knox,
you
send us
to
off.
everyone for joining us tonight. We really hope you enjoyed the shit show that this was. If you are still here, why? But here we are. Thanks for joining us on this journey today. We do release these episodes weekly, but if that's not often enough for you, I'm so sorry because they will not come out any faster. But you can come say hi in the Snowflake Sanctuary Discord server. The link is down below. So if you want to come, offer your own insight, have discussions on stuff that we talk about on the podcast, or have any ideas for what you want to hear, We'd love to see you around. If you do join our Discord, please let us know upon joining that you're coming for from the podcast. Help us get a little introduction to you. The script says thanks to Bandito, but I don't really want to thank him, to be honest.
I'm waiting.
So, Bandito was here. So was Tyler, Zach, and I. But thank you to you for sticking around and joining us this evening. Goodbye.
I'm putting this
It's some
episode out of
bullshit.
its misery.